I was this close to killing my entire business. I wanted to go from what felt like being a freelancer to an actual business owner. And in doing so, almost lost everything that I've worked for the past almost 12 months. As a lot of you will know, I have built my business based purely off of one-offs. So actually, let's go into a bit of a background of how it started. Without saying too much to incriminate myself, I used to work for an MSP. Let's just say one of my accounts, one of my customers wanted something from this business that was 30 grand, and maybe not. I said I could do it for half the price. It was I don't know whether I should say this or not, but a certain system. I'm not going to go into details. It was a system that I was able to build for a lot less than the person was quoted. Let's just say that. So I got my business off to a flyer. That person then referred me to someone else, and suddenly in this whole area for this specific business, I was building this specific system that was saving them so many hours of work. So what did I do after I finished all these projects? I decided, right, okay, I'm going to reach out using cold email to all these people, all these different types of, or this specific business, saying, I've helped this business, I can help you with the same system. And I was reaching out to people using cold email. And at the start, my cold email was crap. It was literally an essay of what I've done. I knew nothing about cold email. And if you saw the emails that I was writing, you'd say the same. So got literally nowhere with it. And then I was like, right, okay, I got lucky again. I built another, I can say this, it was an invoice chasing system. Because again, when I worked in the MSP, I was constantly getting chased by finance to say, look, this is your account, they haven't paid their invoice, can you chase them? I was thinking, my job's sales, I need to get on with doing the sales stuff, why am I doing this? So I thought of a pain, again, as much of you probably have been told to do, think of a pain point and go out and solve it, and then once you've solved it, go and sell that system multiple times. So that's what I was taking the guru's advice, and I was doing that. I bought this system, I wanted to reach out to finance teams, so I started reaching out to a load of finance teams, trying to sell this particular invoice chasing system so it could literally automate a lot of their work. Or a certain. Sorry, I thought the roof was about to cave in. A certain part of their work. Again, tried to reach out through cold email and get the word out there. It was better than last time, but it was still pretty crap. And I got actually some interest, but managed to only get, I think, 2 or 3 over the line at about £1,000 each. So again, I was sort of happy with this because it was the start. I was thinking, this is why is everyone not doing this? This is the most easiest thing that I've ever done. And then I started thinking, okay, how can I make my cold email better? So I started doing a lot of research into cold email. Why don't I get as many replies? Then you learn about deliverability, you learn about infrastructure, etc., etc. And through the time, I've perfected that. But it got to a point where I was using similar to the cold email system that I've created now. And I was reaching out to a load of companies using, I was on about this particular system that I mentioned at the start, and also the invoice chasing system. And it got to the point where people started saying, yeah, that system sounds great, but what you've just emailed me is incredible. How have you managed to make it so personalized? Is this actually one-to-one, or have you automated this? And more people started becoming more and more interested in the emails that I was sending out instead of the actual systems that I was trying to pitch them and sell to them that I'd created. So then this sort of turned on a light bulb moment, and I was like, right, okay, why don't I just start pitching with the cold email system? Using the cold email system, pitching the cold email system. So that's what I did. And for the next 7 or so months until now, that's all I've been doing is pitching the cold email system. And I've been building this system as a one-off and selling it as a one-off, as you guys have seen on my channel a few times now, or once at least. I've got a sales call on there, but talked about it a few times. Is just the amount of times I've sold this cold email system, and it was, it's at least 95% of my sales. There were still people, especially ex-customers, who were referring me to do with other systems that I've sold them. But the majority of my sales was the cold email system. And it was amazing. For the majority of my entrepreneurial career, I've made some very good money just doing that. just selling these one-off systems. And then it came to the point where I was like, okay, I was thinking of the future and I was thinking, I can't carry on doing this. It's fun and I enjoy it, but I can't just keep building these one-offs and just cold emailing constantly and just building these one-offs for people. It's just not going to get me to the place that I want to be. And I suddenly started not feeling fulfilled. I was earning 45 grand a year in my old job plus commission, which was on target earnings of double. So 90 grand. So in dollars, that must be like 120. I'm not 100% sure. So I was earning good money for my age as well. And then I started doing this and I started earning even better money than that. And I was thinking, crikey, this is great. And I was feeling so fulfilled, and then suddenly this is hit and I haven't been feeling fulfilled at all for maybe the past 2 months. Something's been missing. So I knew I wanted to evolve. I felt like a freelancer, but wanted to be a business owner, right? That's all I've ever really wanted to be, is someone that has been in charge of his own income, which is why I was in sales to start with anyway. And I wanted to build something more stable, sustainable, future-proof, something that could potentially be sold later down the line. Not that that's definitely what I want to do, but something that could potentially have some sort of value to it. And I'm adding a lot of value to people's and businesses' lives month in, month out. So what I'm talking about is retainers. It's what everyone wants, right? Retainers and scalable revenue. Before I was happy with the one-offs, but I started thinking, okay, and don't get me wrong, I've got retainers already, but a couple £100 here and there. It keeps the lights on. It pays for what I want to pay for, but it's not as scalable as I want it to be. So I thought, okay, well, I'm selling this system so much. Why don't I just go down the road of lead generation then? Why not just become a lead gen agency? That must be the way to do it. So if you guys have got me on LinkedIn, you'll see me sort of posting down the route of being a lead gen agency. I outreached a hell of a load of people with a brand new offer, with a brand new website. I just built everything and started calling myself a lead gen agency. But it wasn't me. As you guys have seen on sales calls before that I've shown you on YouTube, I have a lot of confidence when I get on a call. When I suddenly moved to this new business model, imposter syndrome came in. When it came to asking for money, people, honestly, look at my LinkedIn, the replies I get from my system is incredible. People want to buy straight away. They're already over that buying line. And I got on the meeting and I somehow was managing to fluff it. I got a couple over the line. I've made some money, but nowhere near as much as I should from the outreach I was doing and the amount of meetings I was having. I was having at 1.6 at least a day and closing 3. It wasn't good enough. Not 3 out of the day, 3 out of the week, or at least, if that, 3 over the month. I just haven't done as well as I should have done at all. And I wasn't happy about it. I just didn't feel confident on the calls. I wasn't sounding like the expert anymore when it came to asking for money. When people said, okay, yeah, all great, how much is it? And I told them the price, but I whispered it. It just wasn't me. It wasn't how I was trying to fit into a box that I just don't belong into. I'm not a lead gen agency guy. They have a bad name. That's something I was leading with as well. I was saying, look, lead gen agencies have bad names, and it was just crap. The whole pitch was crap from start to finish. And I mentioned it might have been imposter syndrome, but at the same time, it probably wasn't. I think it was just misalignment. You don't get someone like me who has done this and sold it and has a good mentality when it comes to stuff like this, shouldn't be getting imposter syndrome. It was just complete misalignment. It wasn't me. I didn't feel right. I am an automations guy. I'm AI and automations is what I love doing. So I went on holiday, as you can tell by the bit of blonde hair and the maybe more tan skin, I don't know. But I went on holiday and I took a few books with me because it's a time to really wind down. And one of the books was one called The One Thing, by Gary Keller. And I read that and a light bulb moment just switched with me. it reminded me of what my core focus is, what my one thing is. And he sort of says in the book, the main sort of gist of it, if I was to read you the blurb or the back of the book, wherever it's called, it's literally just finding your one thing. What is the one, you can't focus all your efforts on so many different things. If you just focus all your effort on one thing and put all your effort into that, success is almost guaranteed, and that's the main umbrella term. And obviously there's a lot of different ones that come into it. To-do lists, just pick one thing from there and make it a success list. Prioritize things a bit better. So many different one things in every single situation. So think of a situation and go, okay, what's my one thing in that situation? What's the one thing I want to make out of it, right? Anyway, I'm not going to read you the whole book and narrate it. But it just sort of reminded me of what I was doing. And I realized, okay, this isn't me. I'm not the person that sells leads. I'm the person that builds the system that generates leads. That's my one thing. My one thing isn't leads. My one thing isn't cold email. My one thing's AI and automation. It's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. Why would I change away from that? Yes, I already have the systems, and maybe my lead gen agency would have been a lot better than everyone else's. And I'm sure it would be because of the systems I've built. But why not just build the systems and still go with that retainer model, if that makes sense? It just sort of clicked, and it was like, I don't sell leads. I build the systems that generate the leads, if that makes sense. And to be honest, I felt lost. I lost my identity. I felt lost for a good almost 2 months, thinking, what am I trying to do here? And I was working relentlessly. I wasn't enjoying work at all. This weekend's just gone, and I thought, right, I'm going to build a lead scraping automation. Built it in an hour and loved it. I've literally just finished a warm-up automation because my whole warm-up procedure has changed, and I'll get into that in videos later down the line to tell you guys what's been happening, what's better for you guys going forward as well. Obviously everyone in my community already knows about all this and stuff like that, but yeah, I've built a warm-up automation which is just going to warm my emails up the right way, not the crap way that everyone's doing at the moment, but we'll get into that in another video. And I've gone back to doing my roots. Everything I've spoken about on YouTube for the past, since January, whenever I started, was about AI infrastructures and AI systems. That's me. That's what I figure out and build. Applications that I started talking about that everyone jumped on the bandwagon. I wonder if I'm ever going to stop mentioning that. All they were talking about is me being the trendsetter. But yeah, it's what it is. But yeah, I've sort of... I want you to come back into YouTube. I'm back now. I'm for anyone that cares. I'm not taking another break. Every 2 days I'll be posting again. I've got my mojo back. I'm selling again like no tomorrow. My income dropped massively, but is now on its way back up. I'm building an actual business that I'm getting really excited about. Everything just is pointing back up again. And this is sort of the journey that a lot of people don't tell you about. It's not, you'll see everything on YouTube and everyone's doing really well. But in reality, I wasn't doing as well as I wanted to be doing. And I felt lost, and I felt like things just weren't going right, and I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. But I needed that break. I went on holiday. I needed that break. I needed a bit of a slap round the face as well. To say, what your AI and automation is what you're great at. I can just sit and build automations all day. And that's, again, building the business or the freelance work isn't really doing that. Yes, the money's great because you've built one system and you can just shift it as and when you want, or to have it as long as your sales skills are good. But really, I want to be building a whole infrastructure. And that's what I'm building right now. Warm-ups, email infrastructure, and just everything, lead scraping, everything. I want to build one big infrastructure that my business just runs off. And later down the line, I can just collect money monthly, hire and fire clients as and when I want, and live life on my terms and build a business on my terms. And at the end of the day, whatever you build today will either empower you or restrict you tomorrow. And I was just getting I was just restricting myself. And now everything I'm building is empowering me for tomorrow. So that's pretty much it. That's my story. Automations are coming, like the ones I've just built over the past few days. I'm going to show you over the next few days as well, so you guys can get up to scratch and start building the same business that I see in my dreams every single night. So I suppose this is just something to help you if you're trying to evolve your business, but something just isn't quite right and it's not clicking maybe the way you want it to. Just ask yourself, is this you, or is it something you just will sell? Because from my experience, you have to sell something that you fully believe in and that is you. And that's where true leverage comes in. True leverage comes from building something that you actually believe in, not from chasing what people tell you to build on YouTube, something that might look scalable but isn't. So yeah, that's me. Look out for some more videos, so definitely subscribe. Put your notifications on, and let's get back to it. Take care, guys.